Hello, Penny here. Today on my garden podcast, imagine that, a completely inexpert have-a-go gardener being completely wrong about something. What I am about to tell you will blow your mind. You can get enough expertise on the internet, can't you? Well, you're certainly not going to get it here. Okay, so here we are, quite a windy day today. The temperature's dropped and it's breezy. I'm risking it a little bit without putting mosquito repellent on. But, you know, I'm kind of like that. You know, I live life on the edge. Yeah. I was actually stung a week ago by a couple of very angry wasps. The story is this. I go to the shed. I think, oh, there's a paper bag which used to have charcoal in it that's empty and needs recycling. I'm going to take that to recycling. You know, keep on top of shed tidiness is my motto. And I scooped it up, I grabbed it, I scrunched it, and then before I knew it, I had this searing pain in my ribs. Not in my ribs, actually, it was in the skin. It was like a burning sensation. And I dropped the bag, I ran out of the shed, I ran towards the house, I screamed, because I love a bit of drama. And also it really hurt, you know. And I realised I'd been stung. So quick to the cream, the Antisan, the antihistamine cream, and quick to the Nurofen to get rid of the pain. And my goodness, a week later, it's still itchy and it still hurts. So obviously I've bored everyone I know about the wasp sting story. But yeah, the wasps, it turns out, had been, you know, eyeing up the paper bag as a bit of a new home and gone, why waste energy building our own hive, or what's it called? Nest. We actually had one on the back of the summer house a couple of years ago, and it's this beautiful cone-like shape. It was absolutely impressive. But they looked at that paper bag and went, let's just get in here. New build. It's all purpose-built. It's all ready-made. Let's get in there. Anyway, so I'm in the garden, as you can imagine. I'm avoiding the mosquitoes and the wasps, and I have in my hand a pot that needs to go in the ground. And in this pot is something that's rather intriguing. When it was first sprouting, it was a bit of an unknown quantity. The label I put in it is, and it has a question mark at the end, verbena or Dutch wig plant, unidentified object that needed a bit of a home to see what happened with it. Anyway, it's grown over the last few weeks, and this particular plant is known for being a bit of a late starter. So you might put the seeds out, you might deal with it earlier rather than later, but you don't really get much back from it and you're a bit worried about it perhaps. It's Nicotiana. It's our old friend Nicotiana. Now, we've not grown this for a couple of years. This is simply some sort of rogue seedling that's turned up, nurtured it for a few months in the pot, and it's turned out to be Nicotiana. If it looks like Nicotiana and it feels like Nicotiana, then it probably is. Plus, the app that I've got said it was. And it's got those very sticky, furry leaves, and it's already got a bit of a funny sort of bitter, sour smell about it, like the tobacco smell that you get off Nicotiana. And when it's in full flower, it's glorious. It's trumpets of white, really tall, 5 foot tall, a couple of meters tall. The neighbours a couple of years ago mentioned just how beautiful they were. They could see them from their garden. And it does keep flowering as long as you keep deadheading. So this beautiful specimen, we've only got one. We're going to put it in the ground next to the hydrangea and the thing, I don't know what it's called, but I'll look at it at some point on the app and find out, and then I'll instantly forget. But yeah, the Nicotiana, tobacco plant is going in the ground. So yeah, and what I'm going to do with it is put it in with this thing, which I have discovered to be a fertilizer, and I have also discovered I have been wrong. I know. Imagine that, a completely inexpert have-a-go gardener being completely wrong about something. What I am about to tell you will blow your mind. I've had an email. Hilda from the Netherlands has emailed hello@bitfamous.co.uk to say how much she enjoys my garden podcast. She's been binge listening Love that, Hilda. Thank you very much. And what she loves especially about my garden podcast is that it's very relatable, in that it's completely inexpert. No one really knows what they're doing. You know, have a go, gardeners. We're all like that, aren't we? She said, actually, you can get enough expertise on the internet, can't you? You don't need any more. Well, you're certainly not going to get it here. But what the brilliant thing is that Hilda explained to me was that the yellow or orange balls that I've been going on about for a number of episodes now aren't, in fact, slug eggs, as I thought they were. They are, in fact, something called Osmocote, a fertiliser. And you can buy the stuff, and yes, it does. It looks like the eggs, and this all came from my mum. My mum said, riddled with slug eggs, terrible. And so what I've been doing, as you full well know, is taking these little balls and squeezing them between my thumb and forefinger, and little pussy stuff comes out, and you're like, yeah, I'm on top of the slugs. No, they come from garden centres. They're part of the fertilising, they're part of the keeping the plants going and looking gorgeous. So I got myself some. Hilda, thank you. It's a massive game changer. So Osmocote, I'd never come across it before. I'd never seen it called that. Is essentially a dry ball that when it gets wet, when it gets damp, it becomes soft inside. It becomes gooey. So if you do squeeze it, it does actually feel like an organic bit of matter. And because it's so gooey inside, you could well imagine that it is the start of a slug life. And my mum, I cannot wait to tell her just how wrong she's been over the years at spending her life squidging, and my life too, actually, the hours I've spent just getting these balls out of pots and tutting and thinking, that garden centre's always got these in it. It must be really slug riddled. It's funny, isn't it? This is just a belief. It's not a factual accuracy. If I'd gone back to the garden centre and went, oi, what's going on in here in all your pots? They would have gone, oh no, that's Osmocote. Now, I have talked about these yellow balls a lot and tutted under my breath in many a podcast, and, you know, sort of whinged about them. I've squeezed them, popped them like big zits, and been satisfied that I'm on top of the slug issue. I'm not going to go back to those episodes and edit them. You're going to get to this episode sooner or later, and you too will chuckle and go, oh, do you know what? I always wondered what those were. And now I know for sure. So thanks, Hilda. Absolutely brilliant information. If you've got any information to help me and the gardening population that listens to my garden podcast improve their knowledge, no Latin names, please, though. Just any tips like, no, Penny, those yellow balls and orange balls are not slug eggs. They are, in fact, fertiliser. I'd love to know. So hello@bitfamous.co.uk. Right then, let's get this Nicotiana in the ground and then call it a day. Okay, so I'm going to put it in next to the plant I can't remember the name of. It's like a gladioli. It's not a lupin, and I can't quite remember, but it does a similar sort of thing. It's got cone-like flowers on it, which have all gone away now, which is nice to know, actually, at this time of year, that next year, that will be receding as the gap next to it opens up for something like a Nicotiana or a Cosmos that will end up flowering for quite some time. Now, I've not dug in here for a long time in this particular patch of bed because, for one reason or another, I haven't needed to. There was a rose here, it wasn't doing that well, we took it out. And actually, it's very root bound, very dry, so it's going to need a bit of looking after. You're never 100% sure, are you, that where you're putting something is the right place. You can only, as discussed, have a go. So let's get this in the ground. It's quite tall, this Nicotiana, already. That's definitely husband planting out because there's no crocks in it. Oh, do you know what? If you could help me with this, I'd love this. Do you feel the need to put crocks crocks, like old crockery, square, little triangles of terracotta pots that have broken into the base of every pot that you plant out. Do you? I need to know whether it's actually... I just put some Osmocote in the base there. And then I put the Nicotiana on top. Do you feel the need to do that with every plant? Because I thought it was like a gardener's, thing you absolutely had to do as a non-negotiable. That at the bottom of every pot you had to put crocks. I don't mean those that plastic footwear. I mean, bits of old crockery. And I thought that was absolutely what you had to do. But just watching observing what my husband's done is just like throw some soil in a pot and then throw the plant in on top. There's been no discernible difference, to be honest. So when do you crock? To crock or not to crock? That's the debate I'm after some answers from. If you could let me know if you've got a rule of thumb. Right, let's get some water on that and then it's job done. Yeah, I've literally created some sort of water feature there because it's higher than the ground around it. So it's running off. Oh well. Let's get these big leaves up. Sometimes plants are their own worst enemies, aren't they? Because they throw out these huge leaves and then they can't actually take any watering around them because they're protecting the ground. Oh, it all makes sense eventually though, doesn't it? Okay, right. I reckon that'll do. For now. Oh, my sunflowers next to it are looking good. I've planted loads in the ground. And they're all coming on a treat. They're all double-headed as well, which is a bit strange. Right. I think that's job well done.